Well, I am totally shocked and did not predict yet another record quarter for Tesla, so I'm very surprised to see a record for production and deliveries. Who could have seen this coming? I'm sure that will never happen again. We're on the Tesla Investor Relations website. In the first quarter, we produced over 440,000 vehicles. Now, let's just annualize that for fun. Annualized rate of production, already 1.76 million vehicles. And delivered over 422,000 vehicles. I think we can probably round that down to 420,069. After all, these numbers are pretty approximate, but there's a tiny margin of error. We continue to transition toward a more even regional mix of vehicle builds, including Model S and X deliveries in transit to Europe, Middle East and Africa, and the Asia Pacific region. In case you guys and girls aren't unaware, especially for those of you who live in the only place on Earth, the United States, the center of the world, in fact the entire world, there are actually countries outside the States who still have yet to take delivery of any of the Plaid Model S or X vehicles. That's right. Remember the Plaid Model S? You know how long that's been available in the United States? Still can't get them in Australia. I know people who've ordered one who are still waiting. So let's have a look at the numbers. Model S and X production 19,437. Deliveries 10,695. So let's take a moment here. 1. These are pretty ordinary numbers. Of course, there's reasons for this. The Model 3 and Y, almost as good as an S and X. Many people who would previously have bought an S and X if they were the only vehicles available would just go, F it, I'll get a 3 or Y. However, I still think Tesla's trying to figure out the exact right pricing to sell through maximum volume on S and X. But again, honestly, they could delete these products and it wouldn't matter. I'm not saying Tesla will delete these. After all, it's a good way to showcase their technological capabilities. The point that I want to make here is just imagine that you're a company trying to compete with Tesla in the same price range as the S and X. You already have an inferior product that can't compete on price. So either sell them for the same price and make almost no money or lose money. And even the most competitive vehicles in this product category, not even 100,000 units per year. In totally unrelated matters, shout out to the Lucid investors. And we can see here almost twice as much production of S and X versus deliveries. Again, Tesla pointing out because they're in transit. Again, I've mentioned this in the past, but it's important to understand that vehicles do not get produced at the Tesla factory and out the other end of the factory when they're finished, end up in a customer's driveway. They actually need to be transported to customers. And if those customers aren't on the same continent that the vehicles were produced, you're going to have a long wait time as these things can't instantly go from one continent to another. Maybe Starship Earth-to-Earth transport can address this in the future. Imagine that, getting expedited delivery of your Tesla vehicle because it goes on a SpaceX rocket. Model 3 and Y production 421,371 vehicles and deliveries 412,180. For grand total production 440,808 versus deliveries of 422,875 vehicles. Now a quick note, today Tesla posted this. Congrats to Giga Texas team on building 4,000 Model Ys this week. Awesome news from the team at Giga Texas. And again, if we annualize this, we'll have a little bit of an idea of where Tesla production is at right now, keeping in mind that Berlin and Austin, Giga Texas and Giga Berlin, are both still in the early stages of an aggressive ramp in production volumes. 4,000 vehicles a week annualizes to over 200,000, to be specific, 208,000 vehicles. So Giga Texas already at an annualized rate of production, 208,000 vehicles. For comparison's sake, just 1 week ago, Giga Berlin hit 5,000 vehicles per week, and that was 1 year after delivering their very first vehicles. This is an annualized rate of over 250,000 vehicles per year, 260,000 to be precise. That means already Berlin and Austin alone at annualized rates of production combined of 468,000 units per year, nearly 500,000 vehicles per year from these two factories, and they're still just beginning to ramp up. The tail end of this year is going to be ridiculous in terms of Tesla production. I don't think we'll see too much incremental capacity increases from Fremont or Shanghai, but Berlin and Austin, ladies and gentlemen, pay very close attention to these production updates. At this point, Tesla well and truly on track to crush 2 million vehicles produced and delivered for 2023. Now, they may not get there. It's very hard to predict an exponential ramp up in production on 2 new factories. If that curve shifts just a little bit one direction or the other, we could see a massive change in the overall numbers. But right now, as it stands, Shanghai capacity is approaching 1 million units per year. Fremont over 500,000, probably closer to 600, 650, depending on capacity and how much they can squeeze out. Berlin and Austin combined getting close to 500,000 vehicles per year. And 2 of these factories are still ramping up. Save any unexpected disasters or major delays, 2 million vehicles looks like it's just about in the bag. Wall Street consensus, well, they just read what Tesla put in their earnings report. Tesla dangled the carrot because these dingbats need a number. They're going to fixate on 1.8 million vehicles no matter what evidence suggested it's going to be above this. Just wanted to flag that now. Tesla absolutely on track to crush it this year. Oh, and speaking of Tesla, going to be posting an exclusive Tesla only Q&A to Patreon very shortly. If you remember, you'll know where to find it, and if not, you can join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. Great questions from you guys and girls about Tesla. Many I haven't discussed publicly here on YouTube or privately on Patreon before. And I have to say, Twitter is really delivering the goods today. Incredible updates from a bunch of Tesla nerds. Shout out to everybody. We're going to run through some of these. Usually a chart can paint the picture a lot clearer than a few numbers. Check this out. We're looking at Tesla deliveries per year and per quarter. In blue, we've got Q4. Red, third quarter. Yellow, second quarter. And green, first quarter. So if we just run along the bottom here, we can look 2017, 18, 19, all the way through. Notice that green bar. That's Q1 deliveries. Clearly, there's a trend here. Up. Same is true of Q2, Q3, and Q4. In almost every one of these cases, Tesla has seen sequential increases. Not every case, but the majority. In 2019, for example, Q1, 63,000 deliveries. Q2, 95,000. Q3, 97,000. Q4, 112,000. However, in 2020, 88,000 in Q1, 91,000 in Q2, 140,000 in Q3, and 181,000 in Q4. What happened in 2020? Oh, that's right. The Shanghai factory was ramping up. Oh, that reminds me. Berlin and Austin currently ramping up. Fancy fucking that. We have another year with almost the exact same scenario. A record-breaking Q1 with 2 factories currently ramping up, not one. What do you think the last couple of quarters of this year are going to look like? Exactly. In 2023 alone, Q1, 423,000 vehicles delivered in Q1. In 2021, it took Tesla 2 quarters and they didn't even deliver that many vehicles. Tesla has more than doubled, one more time, more than doubled their Q1 deliveries in the span of 2 years. More than doubled. There is no other automotive manufacturer on Earth even close to these numbers in terms of growth. Unless, of course, you count the number of vehicles being delivered by companies like Lucid Motors, who delivered 1 vehicle last quarter and maybe 3 vehicles this quarter. Slight exaggeration. But you get the point. Another excellent chart visualizing things. Anyone notice a trend? Is this going up? In fact, here's a better question. Is this following an approximately exponential curve? Spoiler alert, yes, this isn't linear growth. This is exponential growth. It's compounding. Tesla production in yellow, deliveries in red, and inventory in green. By the way, I recall every single quarter that there's a reasonable gap between Tesla production and deliveries, the Tesla Q dolts come out of the woodwork. Oh my God, look, well, they didn't sell all that big. Oh, look, that's a problem. No demand. It does embarrass me to have to point this out repeatedly, but every fucking quarter, the same story. These dingbats assume if they didn't deliver the exact same number of vehicles they produced in the quarter, it's obviously and only down to one thing, no demand, as opposed to vehicles still being in transit. Look at the trend over the long term, okay? Because this is important. Every quarter, people fixate. Oh my God, bro, I don't understand. There's too much inventory. There's a problem. There's no demand. Oh my God. If we zoom out a little bit, like in this example, we're looking at 2016 in Q2 all the way up to 2023 in Q1. Tesla's continued to produce and sell more vehicles. I think what I'm trying to say is perspective really matters. Another great graphic here. Twitter really delivering the goods today. Tesla Q4 versus Q1 deliveries. For those who don't know, the automotive industry extremely seasonal. As a general rule of thumb, a company at steady state will sell significantly less vehicles in Q1 versus Q4. Gets toward the end of the year, people are thinking, all right, time to buy a new car, time for a change, blah, 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 blah. Maybe I'll buy myself an early Christmas present and so on. Oh, I'd love to take delivery of this vehicle before the end of the year, so I've got it for next year, etc. Just the way things are. So we can see in 2017 to 2018, Q1 of 2018, 0.5% more in terms of deliveries versus 2017 Q1. In 2019, a 30% decline from Q1 to Q4. 2020, a 21% decline. 2020 to 2021, however, it flips to positive again, up 2.5%. 21 to 22, up 0.5%, and 22 to 23, up 4.3%. Tesla managing to buck the trend. Not bad. If you prefer the numbers, here they are, going all the way back to 2013. Tesla delivered 4,900 vehicles in Q1. In 2014, less than 6,500. 2015, just over 10,000. 2016, under 15,000. 2017, just over 25,000. 2018, just under 30,000. You guys notice something? This is a ridiculous rate of growth. Half a decade ago in 2018, Tesla delivering under 30,000 vehicles in Q1. Fast forward to 2023, half a decade later, it's not 290,000. That would be a 10x in deliveries. No. It's 422,000. Of course, this trend is obviously going to immediately stop, and that's why Tesla's never going to get even close to 20 million vehicles delivered in 2030. Still need to see that demand analysis. And I don't want to be too much of a dick here. I do understand that you do need to do your own thinking and do need to think through these things. But at this point, there's a fairly clear trend. This trend wasn't so established a few years earlier. And when I say a few years earlier, I mean, let's say half a decade earlier. You're like, well, it's going, but you never know. 25 to 29, I can't really tell. But by this point, we have a decade-long track record of Tesla's deliveries increasing at a ridiculous rate, sustainably so. So now the onus is on the bears. Tell me why this is no longer going to be possible. Remember, Berlin and Austin still ramping up. Giga Mexico recently announced. With those factories ramping up alone, we've got runway of another probably half a decade of this same kind of rate of growth in deliveries. Another way to look at this, in Q1 2023, Tesla delivered 85% the amount of vehicles it did in all of 2020. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. 85% is not that far off 100%. And 2020 was not very long ago. Look at this thing, visually. Sums it up perfectly. Tesla's Q1 2023 deliveries, towering over the first 3 quarters of 2020. Tesla doing in a single quarter in 2023, almost as much as they did in the entire year of 2020. This trend will continue. And now, the fake news getting absolutely owned. First of all, Gary Black here, shout out to Gary, correcting Phil LeBeau of CNBS. Tweeting at Phil, "You're using an incorrect Tesla Q1 consensus. Per the IR compiled consensus of 25 sell-side analysts taken last week, Q1 consensus deliveries were 421.5 thousand, not 432,000. CNBS should fix this, or at least add the new IR consensus as a second source before tomorrow." In Phil's defense, I mean, he's not a Tesla nerd, he's just some guy that works at CNBS. I don't know who fed him this fake news, but it is fake news. He was fed misinformation and is now propagating it. Speaking of misinformation, unfortunately, as I was preparing to record today's video, this tweet was deleted by the author, Reuters, but good thing is that the internet never forgets. This tweet got community noted hilariously, and it didn't take long either. Elon responded to that after the community notes. Deceptive headline backfires on Reuters. Sure it does. To the point of embarrassment, they've deleted the tweet. Now, I do understand if you make a mistake, you say something that's inaccurate, you can delete the tweet, but if you've already been community noted, it's not necessary because there's a label there saying you're wrong, you faces. Here's why you're wrong. No need to delete the tweet unless out of shame and embarrassment. But, like I said, the internet never forgets, so let's dive into the memory of the internet. Delightful screenshot here. Reuters, Tesla misses delivery estimates as price cuts fail to lure buyers. It's almost as if Reuters had pre-written this article. And here's the community note update. Readers added context they thought people might want to know. This is factually incorrect. Wall Street was expecting around 420,000 deliveries. Tesla beat expectations with nearly 423,000 deliveries. Did you find this helpful? I sure did, but I can't rate it anymore because it's been deleted. RIP Reuters. More data, because why not? Check this out. Anyone notice a trend? Anyone? 2 letters, starts with U. What's the trend? 1 word. 2 letters. Tesla quarterly deliveries in hundreds of thousands from Q1 2019 to present moment. By the way, if anyone's wondering, just for some historical context, I started this YouTube channel Q4 2019, 112,000 vehicles delivered in that quarter. We can also see the futile, fascist, and inhumane scamdemic lockdowns having an impact on Tesla Q1 and Q2 in 2020. Cost Tesla about 100,000 units of production by my estimates. Remember, it's not just the shutdown time, but the time to ramp back up to volume production. And unbelievably, as I mentioned, 2022, the same shit happened in China. You fucking idiots, I called it. Futile, fascist, inhumane, won't work, hence futile, didn't work, called it. I mean, how could some idiot on the internet know this wasn't going to work? Yeah, the CCP thought it was a good idea. Anyway, so that happened as well, out of Tesla's control. These are the only 2 meaningful blips on the radar where production, the trend looked like it was down due to factories being forcibly shut down, and unnecessarily so. Morons. Anyway, once again, this paints a fairly clear picture if you have eyes and a brain. And this great chart from none other than James Stevenson, trailing 12-month total global Tesla deliveries, Q1 2013 to Q1 2023. Now again, I have to ask the question, I know it's getting repetitive, but it's kind of important. Does anyone notice a trend here? 1 word. Second letter, P. Now, the question I want to ask again is, clearly there's a little bit of growth here. Is this linear growth? Or is this, what's that word? Starts with expo, ends in something, I don't know, expo something growth. What is it? How's it go again? I think it's the latter one, you know, that growth. Obviously, this trend will stop now and deliveries are just going to go flat because the competition's coming. And also there's no demand. That's why the prices keep going down, except when they don't. Nothing to do with Tesla particle and cost savings to consumers. I really do want to take a moment to dwell on this. Look, just look. If you're just listening audio only, just look. Take a moment and just let this sink in. And then consider what the current experts are forecasting for total electric vehicle deliveries and the skeptics who are still very doubtful that Tesla could ever get close to 20 million vehicles delivered per year because they haven't yet released a very detailed demand analysis. Instead, they just told us how to halve the cost of a compelling electric vehicle at Investor Day 2023. If there's one chart you remember from today's video, it's this. Just look. So to recap, Tesla crushed it again. I definitely didn't see that coming, and I definitely won't see it coming next quarter when they do it again, record quarter. Not just a record Q2, but a record quarter. Oh, and then when they do it again in Q3, I'll also be very surprised because I certainly couldn't have seen that coming, especially not with 2 new factories ramping up. Just that'll be really surprising. And then what happens in Q4, yep, I'm going to be really shocked again. And then What happens in Q1 in 2024, you guys get the point. Tesla will produce and deliver record numbers of vehicles in approximately every single quarter between now and the end of this decade, and probably well beyond that as well. It was also hilarious to see the fake news get absolutely owned for propagating lies about Tesla. Again, it's almost like the media had written their headlines ahead of time and just waited for confirmation. And then when they didn't get the confirmation, they decided, well, that, we'll just move the goalposts and claim that they missed consensus estimates. Oh, by the way, as we know, Tesla doesn't miss deliveries or production. Wall Street guesses wrong. It's a big difference. Well, we have some breaking news, folks. Looks like Reuters just drank their Athletic Greens AG1. Their brains finally turned on and they've issued a correction. So in fairness, let's have a read. Correction. Tesla posts record quarterly deliveries after price cuts, up 4% from Q4. An earlier tweet about Tesla's deliveries contained incorrect information. We are deleting that tweet. So thank you, Reuters. 1, acknowledging the mistake. 2, issuing a correction. And 3, not making excuses, owning a mistake. Credit where it's due. Obviously, they should have had their AG1 before posting the original article, but hey, better late than never. And just a quick aside, it's really important to understand that focusing on Tesla's quarterly deliveries is a massive mistake. Sure, they exist, we'll talk about them. The thing to focus on isn't what happened this quarter, it's the long-term trend. This is where just about everyone completely misses the mark and f***s up when it comes to Tesla deliveries and understanding the company. If you zoom out, the trend is extremely clear and painfully obvious. Tesla has been and continues to increase their deliveries quarter after quarter on average at an exponential rate. Despite multiple fascist shutdowns of their factories, despite constant calls from the bears, the competition's coming, oh my god, there's no demand, it's over, Tesla's going bankrupt, whatever. Tesla's continued. The trend has remained unchanged, compounding exponential growth in deliveries quarter after quarter after quarter after quarter, year after year after year after year. More than a decade straight, Tesla's increased their annual deliveries year over year. Don't miss the forest for the trees. And also, don't miss this great offer from Athletic Greens AG1, which I've now been taking daily for 2 years, and I've never felt better. If you want to feel and perform your best, Athletic Greens AG1 is a no-brainer. And if you use the link at the pinned comment, at least for now, you get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. Athletic Greens AG1 is definitely something that the person who posted Reuters' article about Tesla deliveries today clearly isn't drinking. I can almost guarantee. AG1 is a great way to fill in nutritional gaps, which everybody has. It features 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics, and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. In combination, these will improve your gut health and your digestion, keep you more regular. Can't believe I'm talking about this stuff on YouTube, but it's true and it's important. It will support immunity and meaningfully boost energy, at least in my case. I know this is pointing out the obvious, but sometimes it needs to be said. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, it'll feel and perform its best. But don't take my word for it. Here's what you guys and girls have to say. AG1 is totally amazing. No more ibuprofen, no more leg cramps, much less back pain, feeling better and more energy. This is great, and I'm only 2 weeks into AG1. It really works. Thanks, Stephen. You're welcome. Day 30 of AG1, and I cannot explain to you how much better I'm feeling. My social anxiety is so much better. I did not expect to help so much, but it has. I feel energized, ready to do things. I've been staying on top of things for the first time in years. If you haven't tried it already, truly try it. I was a skeptic. I did not at all believe it was going to help, and it has, significantly. I noticed 3 things with AG1. My chronic heartburn is gone. My digestion is more regular. I have more alertness, and I wake up with a raging hard-on every morning. Just received my second pouch of AG1 and find improvement in short-term memory and not napping during the day as I did pre-AG1. Worth the price. Regarding AG1, okay, so I couldn't ignore all the talk. It's been about 3 months now and I've literally stopped drinking coffee because of it. Not even intentionally, I just don't need it now. Strange. Not that strange, AG1 will meaningfully boost energy, at least in my own experience. That's the biggest benefit I noticed almost immediately. So what are you waiting for? Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link in the pinned comment. Start your daily health habit now and let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks. If for some strange reason you don't get the results you're expecting, there's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so what do you got to lose? Nothing. Oh, by the way, we really need to get Elon Musk on this. I'm serious, by the way. If anyone knows how I can sponsor his first year on Athletic Greens AG1, send me a DM on Twitter. I'll sort it out, and you guys can thank me later when Elon Musk steps it up another notch. Don't forget, dropping a Tesla exclusive Q&A on Patreon very soon. If you're not a member, you can join with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment, and I'll see you over there. Love ya.